Morning guys, Mark Ferrasci, Protect Dog Training, working with Benno. Good boy. And my mic doesn't seem to be hooking. It's there and it's on here, it's green. I don't understand why it's not hooking. We've got to figure out something. Good. So it may be a little muffled, but okay. So Benno is now ready to go to that next stage. We've basically had the neutral lab at home. I've been teaching him basic things. And the most important one is the right about turn, because you're going to go away from what he may be wanting to explode on. And you're teaching him in a nutshell to pay attention to you, in other words, you're redirecting him into you and taking his behavior into you versus his worried state of mind when he's all head tripping on going off on things and people and dogs. And so he now is in a muzzle. Up. Come on. Yeah, come on. Up. Good boy, good. There you go. Come on. Come on. Up. And we're ready to go into environment with a muzzle. I've already tested him a couple times. He hasn't gone off on anybody when I've walked up with him, but he knows he's in a muzzle, so that might be the factor, and I can't trust him to not be in a muzzle right now as far as the public is concerned. With me, I walked in on the first day and had no muzzle on him, and he went off on me, and we had a little bit of come to Jesus meeting. That was it. And so now we've got a relationship to a point that he is our muzzle. Alright, so when you put a muzzle on, you want to make sure it's going to stay there, but when I'm dealing with biting problems and stuff, all I need is to make sure that the dog strikes somebody, they're not going to be able to bite them, as long as they don't stick their fingers inside the muzzle, right? So he may startle somebody with his behavior, exploding, and kind of lunging at somebody, but he really can't hurt them as long as they don't put their fingers in his muzzle. So this is not as important as like I would use in bite work for protection. I would make sure that that was doing, we would call it a muzzle check. And we actually pull the dog up, we move it on. But this will probably come off his head if I did that, which is not a concern, because again, I just need it for the purpose I'm using it for. I need something the dog can breathe in and has plenty of holes for breathing. I can feed him here. He can drink out of this. I could leave it on him for longer if I needed to. I don't usually like to do that because it'll end up creating sores on the mouth if I have, but there's dogs I've had come in that I don't trust. I'll leave them in the muzzle 2-3 days and the sores are just going to have to be what we have to go through, unfortunately, because I can't handle the dog, right? The reason it's a little bit better in a lot of ways to let him go to in-kennel or in-board training for a professional trainer is this is what we deal with. And we're also taking the dog into an area that he can't rehearse the behaviors. A lot of times, and this is what we want to talk about, is the dogs are in the same neighborhood and the people go out and they walk in their neighborhood, they go by a fence line or something, this dog's going to load up and start going off on it, and that becomes a rehearsed behavior. So we need to take him to spots. That's why you see me work in this park. It's nice and quiet, there's hardly anybody here, and I can slowly build up to putting a little bit more on him, a little bit more, and working all the tools that I've got in the tool bag now with my right about turn, stopping, automatic stops, what we call an automatic sit, and he understands, Benno, with me, good boy, good. And then I do the right about turn, which gets him to follow me, and then what he's going to be corrected for is, if I'm doing my job right, is I don't ever let him get to the point where he blows up. My job is to keep it under threshold and not have the dog go off. But if it happens, those are going to be needed. Nope, come on. Good. The right about turn, paying attention to me. So I go right about and go the other way and redirect the dog into me. He's basically being corrected because he's not paying attention to me. He's being corrected for not being subservient to the obedience that I've already established. And I do that first. If you don't do that and you just go out and think you're just going to take a stick and start pounding the dog or correcting, you're not going to get anywhere. You're going to make it worse, not better. And a lot of people do that. They think that humans, being what they are, they always think that spanking a dog, punishing a dog, is going to make behavior go away. And it's very farthest from the truth. Do we have negative? Sure we do. Down. Yeah, that's up, boy. Good. Yeah, you got to go. Nope. Nope. Good. Down. Good. Good, Benno. Yep. Good boy. So people think they can punish behavior away. And it's true that we do have negatives. I have corrections, etc. But timing, we always hear about it. It's got to be done right when it's needed. And it can't be emotionally filled. In other words, I'm being emotional when I'm upset when the dog's doing something wrong. Hey, stop that! And that emotion, dogs don't understand that. They live in a black and white world. Matter of fact, done and over with is what you want with the corrections, with no animosity and just done and over with what you're working on, right? Good. So we're about ready to step up and start getting out in public. I need to get back home right now, but I might, it's so dang hot. I'm trying to do it. I guess I'll schedule it for tomorrow morning, and we'll just come here real quick and then go out in the public. But I need to go out to Home Depot or something's got some foot traffic that I can start getting some things put on. And that'll help with the human side, but the dog side, a little bit harder because you need other dogs. You need setup dogs, you know, dogs that are the patsy. You have one dog walking across the way and you go in and do right about turns and start getting your threshold figured out as far as how close can I be before the dog blows up, and work the dog through it in the right way. Yep. And it takes practice, but a lot of it is rehearsal. When that dog was at home, he was going down the road with his owners and they were correcting him and getting all upset because the dog's blowing up at everything that goes around. Well, that behavior starts getting set in. You go 2 doors down and on the right hand side there's a dog that's behind that fence. And the dog knows this because he walks with you every day, right? So all you're doing is rehearsing this negative behavior. So when the dog goes back home, my biggest suggestion to the owner is start putting him in the car, let him take a ride, go to a park, go to some place that has a totally different environment and that you can kind of set up what you need to do to work this behavior. Not as easy as said as it is done, but when you get to be like me, you practice so much using environment, you put a lot of work into figuring out where I need to go, what do I need to do. Hup, hup, nope, hup, come on, hup. Shutting down on me, are you? Huh? You shutting down on me? Come on. He's irritated by the muzzle. Good. Good. He says, I don't want this muzzle on. Good. But notice I didn't take no for an answer. I just kept until he finally did. And then there's a lot of praise, a lot of positive food, everything else when he gives me what he wants. There's times that we're going to make a dog do something whether they like it or not, right? Yep. So the dog learns in a nutshell, come on, hup, hup, that he can't bulk is what we call it. He's bulking, he's stopping. And we do it with agility too. With young dogs, we'll kind of pull them up with a lot of, as much kindness as we can give, and as soon as they get there on the top, yay, good boy, good day, a lot of praise, a lot of food, whatever it takes to get the dog on the positive state of mind. And then after a couple times, he's going to come up to that and he's going to say, well, I don't like that little correction I'm having to deal with, the tap taps, I'm just going to jump on it. Right when he does, then show him where the right answer is right now, right? So it's a lot of that in training in certain areas, right? Yep, good boy, good. Good, there you go, good boy, good, there you go. Now, I'm doing a lot of this, even though he's a little irritated by the muzzle and he wants to shut down on me. I'm doing it because I've got to go out in public and his mind is going to be in a totally different place. And I need to work him through it. So I need him to have as much as I can here before we go out in public. Yep, with the muzzle on, where he gets fatigued, where he starts shutting down on me. All these little things I'm facing right now with neutral lab. There's nothing out here other than the grass and a previous association. And that's what a lot of this is. It's going to be a lot of dealing with previous associations. And the core of everything is where this dog's brain resides in the fear bean, right? That fear bean is going to be something we have to work with for a long time. So I hate to say it, but yep, it's not like I dream a genie where I can just go poof till the dog is fixed. It takes time, it takes work. It's going to take work from the owner to learn and grow, but that's what I'm here for, right? Good, good. I just want to get, nope, good, there you go, good boy, good. Enough foundation into the dog that they have something to work with, and then I'm going to try to educate them and how to deal with it, and then do the best we can to get them to put in. And that's hard because people have lifestyles, they have things they want to do every day. I come home at 5, I'm tired, I want to go walk my dog, and I don't want to have to deal with this. Well, unfortunately, you're probably going to have to, because the dog's environment is where it's at. It's already previous behavior that's set in. So you've got to kind of take it like a chalkboard and wipe that chalkboard clean by going to new places, new things, and slowly build up on these behaviors with you, and then slowly go into where he's at. And then we'll deal with it when we need to in that regards. But we have to have enough built-in behavior and enough built-in mental states of mind in the dog to get to that point, right? And that's what you're doing. It's all about a mental state of mind. What would some dogs get that razz because they get high on the fact that they're lunging and something gets startled and goes away from them. They're getting what they want. They're getting rewarded from it, and pretty soon that behavior gets worse and worse. So we will find out how it goes, and you never know how it's going to go. Every dog is an individual. every dog, just like every person, has a character that basically is affected by how they deal with life, right? And I've said this and I've talked about this before. You go out to the park and there's kids playing, one kid will fall down and he'll go, wah! And he'll lay on the ground, he's hurt, he's, oh my God, oh my God. Another kid falls down, oh, that hurts. He rubs his knee a little bit, brushes it off, and he goes on in life, right? Why? Because of who he is as an individual and as a character, and how he's treated and how he's affected by the world at that point in time, that makes him think about the world differently than maybe that child that was very weak and sat there on the ground and wanted to get attention by screaming and yelling and being a brat, right? Again, that's character, right? Every dog is different, just like every individual is different. You don't know how they're going to deal with it until you go out and start doing it. And then I come up with all my assessments, right? Figured out that the dog's reactivity was coming from basic fear. I know that it's basically at the root of it's going to be the owners that don't know what they're doing, that need to get educated. All these things that we do as a professional trainer. Good, that's my boy, good. There you go. Good boy. All right, I'll let you guys go for today, but I just thought I'd have the owner get to take another look at his dog, and knowing we're going to go to the next steps here pretty quick. Going to be public coming up. Talk to you later.